Chardonnay or whatever.
Absolutely. Chardonnay grape actually is the grape, and it makes all sorts of white wines, from the Pouilly Fumé to the Pouligny Montrachet, which is one of the great...
I didn't know that. I didn't know the Chardonnay grape made Pouilly Fumé.
Oh, the Chardonnay grape has become one of the most successful grapes because it's a high yield, it's resistant to a lot of things, and it's very, very juicy. It has lots of juice. But likewise, I think, what is this? This is a California Merlot. Here's a perfect example. This Merlot, which comes from Sonoma County, is actually 40% Merlot grape and 20%...
40% proof?
I don't have my glasses on, so I'm struggling.
40%.
And what does it say? 70%?
80% Merlot and 20% Cabernet
Sauvignon grape, and yet it's called a Merlot wine. But here's the good trick that you can pull with all of your friends who think of themselves as great wine snobs. They know so much about wine. The first time you see somebody doing this and holding a bottle of wine, you can say, oh, not done. Oh. Because look at the shape of the wine glass.
That's there for a reason,
the wine that's for a reason. Yeah. If you put your hand on this wine glass like this, you automatically, the warmth of your hand automatically changes the temperature of the wine inside the glass, which is not what you want. It's kept at a certain temperature in order to have a full bouquet. So you can either hold it this way, or a lot of the wine tasters that I've do it this way. And you can now see also the shape of these glasses, particularly for red wines, keeps the bouquet inside so they really open up slowly. And then this notion of smelling the wine first is very important.
I don't bother
because
with that.
no, well, it really actually is. You'll actually find that you can smell the oak. You can really start to smell kind of the freshness of it, what you might anticipate, and the olfactory senses. Look, when you're cooking at home, you walk home and you say, oh, that smells great, I'm so hungry. It automatically starts the juices going in your stomach.
Oh, this smells great, I'm so thirsty.
So it really is... Well, I've got a matinee. I can't I can't drink too much. But that's one of the cute little handy hints that we... Isn't that nice? Actually. This is one of our California wines, and one of the things that's also interesting about the California wines is that a long, long time ago, when all the immigrants were coming to the United States from Europe, they were bringing with them rootstock. So the rootstock for all of these wines that are basically all California wines came from Europe originally. So in the mid-1800s and some parts of the 1900s, there was a phylloxera virus that attacked most of the vineyards in Europe and destroyed them.
But they lived on in America.
But they lived on in America, so they brought this stock, which is the rootstock, upon which they grafted the wine and rejuvenated the wine industry and the wine tradition.
You know everything, don't you?
Well, we learned all of this traveling around the world. We went to Australia.
We're a bit short of time.
Oh, so but this one, I think you ought to. This is a very interesting story, because most people, I don't think in England, realize that England is the #1 export market for champagne in the world. In the world. And this particular wine, this particular bottle, this Pommery Brut, was developed by Madame Pommery, who was a lady who the two women who were really responsible for great champagnes in France were women. The Veuve Clicquot, who was the widow Clicquot, and Madame Pommery. And Madame Pommery created the first Brut champagne, which is what we drink now as champagne, for the English market, launched it here in England in the 1870s. Prior to that, champagne was very sweet, kind of, and you could see why the glass was open. It was a bowl of glass for drinking this very sweet, sort of tasty wine. But this is what we now know today as Brut champagne. I think you better. And that's why we have these lovely tall flutes to drink it in, because Pommery in particular has a beautiful small bubble that rises to the surface.
This is how I open. No, this is how I open. No, you tell me. Is that the right way to open champagne?
Yeah, you can turn it. That's, whoa, he's an expert. Yep. You've done that a few times before, I suspect.
Okay, are you not having any of this then? This is...
Oh, I will taste this. I do like this. Look at those lovely little bubbles. Beautiful. And most people don't realize that you can drink champagne with a meal. which is also something very, very special. There are very many different kinds of champagne.
You're saying they used to drink it out of what, like a punch bowl?
They used to drink it like a little, you know, that small champagne glass we all used to hold
I see what you mean. Oh,
at the wedding receptions and all.
Oh,
now it's drunk out of a flute because, of course, since Brut came about, since Pommery created Brut, we now have this wonderful taste.
Well, Stefanie,
that's brilliant. That's just brilliant. It's fun, isn't it?
That's great.
Well, very quickly, can you just take us through a quick taste? We'll have about 20 seconds for each one, otherwise we're going to.
All right, should we start? We start with what they call the Chardonnay, Ironsides Vineyard. The price here is about £5. I believe this is the first one.
Okay,
now I'm only going to smell it, but I think you can smell. It's got very fruity. Americans seem to like this very fruity.
It's a classic American drink, that,
taste. Yeah. Yeah,
nice.
so you can smell that fruit even before you taste it. Apples, balanced with sort of a crispy kind of a scent. Now, this one we've already tried, which is is that the Pfizer?
That's the
Merlot de Bois.
Merlot de Bois.
That's here's a Pfizer, another a white wine coming from
the north coast of California.
The north coast of California. This is in the tradition of the Rhone wines. So you should taste. You see, but in the American translation, there's no oak. You can't taste any of the oak. You can't smell any of the oak.
It's got a slight, it tastes a bit like a hop, doesn't it?
I don't really like that oak.
You don't?
This is why I don't like Chardonnays very much, because for me it's too overpowering.
So you like them more fruity?
Yeah.
Well, you can also put a little soda in there, and it's very nice. You know? Do you know, I heard that with all this new money that was coming to China, they were ordering all of these fantastic wines and fabulously expensive Chateau something or others, and mixing it with Coca-Cola because they thought it wasn't sweet enough.
You're kidding.
I'm not. It's true.
Right.
I promise you, I'm full of all sorts of useless knowledge.
This is the Yorkville.
Now, the Yorkville. Where is the Yorkville? Well, the Yorkville isn't here.
It's not there.
So
well, let's taste it.
Let's taste it. Yorkville is a Cabernet Franc.
Well, I like it.
I think that's probably very nice, that one. Oh, yeah, now you can see that you can smell the oak and a little bit of tannins. So this is going to have more of a bite to it. It's going to be, you're going to feel the bite, and then, of course, you get the aftertaste of some of the oaks. And, of course, the oak...
I'd recommend that one. That's very nice.
The oak that the California wines are being aged in actually does still come from France.
Does it?
Yeah. They import the oak from France.
We've got time for one more.
One more?
This is the Ironstone Vineyards.
Oh, Ironstone. It's been around for quite a while.
In the Sierra foothills, apparently. Where are the Sierra foothills? Are they north of San Francisco?
Well, it's all in that area. The Sierra,
Napa Valley,
Napa, Sonoma, Mendocino. It all borders on the western slope.
Well, this I'm a Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Which Judy isn't too keen on, but we'll see. What do you think?
No?
I just can't. It's just too powerful for me. I just can't. I can't drink it.
I don't like French Chardonnay.
Yeah, I like that.
I love American Chardonnays in America.
It's very smooth, and it's and you know, mind you, these are wonderful buys.
Yeah, we can see on the price list.
They're wonderful buys. They are because the science of the vintners are now producing such extraordinarily reliable, really year after year, very reliable, good, not expensive wines. We can age some of these. You wouldn't want to age any of the whites. You can age some of the reds for 3 to 5 years.
And they'll taste a lot better after that.
Well, they will, yeah. The other phenomena, which is just a tiny little thing, is that there is also some kind of a relationship to the better aging of wine in the larger the bottle. So probably aging wine in a bottle, what you'd really like to do is get sort of a magnum or half a magnum, which is 2 of these fins.
And it'll lay down better?
It lay down much, much better. And when you open it, it really will have a much better age bouquet throughout the bottle.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for the Stefanie Masterclass. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you what, you do come from a European family, but I mean, considering what wonderful wines that they produce in California, the way they try to put you off drinking them,
really?
Everywhere you go, notices saying this can kill you, this can make you into an alcoholic.
You'll have a mad baby.
Oh, yeah. Well, you see, we still have a funny law where people get sued all the time.
You had a law, which in Boston, I think it was, where 2 women were sitting, they both had babies, weren't they? They were breastfeeding.
In Florida, actually.
It was in Florida. They were breastfeeding the babies in their garden. They both had them at roughly the same time. The babies were about 3 months old. And both women had a small glass of white wine that they were sipping in the garden, on the patio. And a neighbour saw them and reported them to the police, who arrested them for child abuse, because they said that the alcohol would be, obviously ultimately would go through to the breast milk, and therefore they were imbibing and damaging their children. And they were in prison, weren't they, for about, or in
they
a cell
were.
for 2 days. They were held on charge, and then they were released without charge because it was obviously a nonsense. But well, we have crazy laws here too, so
well,
it's all right.
We're not alone in this. Anyway, I thank you so much.
Thank you.
What a wonderful red, white, and blue. This is just great.
And where are you
thank
this
you
afternoon?
very much.
You're doing a matinee this afternoon?
Yeah, in Bromley.
Bromley.
Then we move to Windsor.
Okay.
And then into the West End, hopefully.
Great.
Soon.
Well, we'll see you again then. Thanks very much
so
indeed.
Much.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, for details of the wines that we've had today, you can see ITV Teletext page 654. And thank you very much again, Stefanie.
Pleasure.
Good fun. All right, coming up, it's our phone-in for single dads, and that's with Raj Persaud and Tony Parsons. Back in a minute.